So what is a constant? A constant is, like a variable, a piece of memory that we use to hold things in. However, unlike a variable, which is variable, hence its name, a constant is constant, hence its name. So we can define constants and assign an initial value to them, but that value cannot be changed anywhere in your code. Effectively, it takes that value and it uses that value all the way through your program. The reason that you would have a constant is in place of hard-coded values or strings that you might have in your code. So for example, here in our constants file, we have a little subroutine, which we've called constant test, that takes a variable number, so this number can change, x can change, produces a result which is x to the power of 2. Now if this 2 is always going to be 2, effectively it's a constant. And instead of typing 2 into your procedure, we assign 2 to a constant, so that it's in one place and we can use it over and over again throughout the code. Well, we can use it over and over again. It depends where you declare the constant. Just like your variables, where you declare your constants will determine the scope of them. So let's look at getting rid of this 2 and replacing it with a constant. So we would declare a constant with the keyword const. We give it a name, so I'm going to call it power2. The same naming conventions apply to constants as they do to variables. No number as the first character, no spaces, 255 characters max. The slight difference here with a variable and a constant is that we declare the constant, give it a data type, so as integer, and on the same line assign it its value. So it's going to be 2. And then instead of using the 2 down here, we use our constant name. And you'll find that this little procedure works fine. 9. So we can change the variable value. 4, and we get 4 power of 2, which is 16. Now the only issue really with this particular constant is it only lives during this single procedure, in which case going to the trouble of declaring a constant and assigning it a value seems a bit overkill when all I could do is put a 2 here. However, if I want to use power 2 quite frequently throughout my whole application, I can take this line, just like we can with variables, and declare it at the top of my module, and then it becomes available to every single procedure within this module. If I want to make it available to my whole application, so whichever module I happen to be calling a procedure from, then I simply insert the word public at the beginning of the line, and I've now created a public constant, so power 2 is effectively the value 2 wherever I want to use it in my application. The big advantage now is if I suddenly change my mind about wanting to do the power of 2 all over the place, actually it's going to be 2.5, I change it in one place, which is here, where I've declared it. So that's where the real power comes in your programming of using constants, because although they may be constant throughout your application, when you recreate the application or rerun the application, you might decide to change the value of that constant. And now it's in one place. You're not having to look through every single procedure and function that you've created to try and find where you've used it. Constants can be any of the data types you've seen previously for variables. In fact, they are pretty much the same as a variable, but you cannot change them. They're given a value at the declaration point, and that's the value they must hold throughout the whole of the application.